Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the relationship between China and the continent of Africa. Right now, Chinese citizens of Africa are experiencing a lot of backlash because of how Africans are being treated in China. Now, believe it or not, you have some people who have the mindset or the attitude of two wrongs don't make a right. And I'm like, get out of here with that, okay? Get out of here with that. You have Chinese citizens in Africa who were in Africa mistreating Africans. And now you have Africans who live in China being mistreated, being abused, tossed out on the streets, just all kinds of things happening, right? And so they are now starting to say, you know what, the people of the continent of Africa are starting to say, you know what, you are not going to treat our people this way and get away with it. You have those who are responding, they're retaliating, they're saying, you know what, since you want to treat our citizens like this, your citizens have to bounce. You got to go, right? And you have those with a mindset of two wrongs don't make a right. But when you have that type of mindset, what you're literally saying is that dark indigenous people of the planet do not have a right to retaliate or defend themselves or give the same treatment that is given to them from others. And one thing that has been used to just brand that into our minds is the turn the other cheek thing, and no longer an eye for an eye, whereas the Old Testament said eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But then you go over to the New Testament and it says no longer this, right? And so people believe that they can just stomp all over dark indigenous people and that they are supposed to just forgive and forget. Two wrongs don't make a right. I know that they're mistreating you here in China, but don't mistreat them here in Africa. Because two wrongs don't make a right. People want to throw moral daggers at us, while this one over here, nobody's saying anything about this. You get what I'm saying here? I want to know, I already know what most of my viewers think, okay? From time to time, I will see those. As a matter of fact, it was on one of my videos to where I saw some of that nonsense about two wrongs don't make a right. And so I'm saying to myself, why would you say this? Okay, so these people are throwing Africans who have paid their rent or their mortgages or their leases. They've paid their dues, but they're being thrown out. But you want to intervene and you want to interject and say two wrongs don't make a right when Africans respond the same way and say, since you're bouncing our people out, we're going to bounce yours out. And then they call that being the bigger person. Why don't you be the bigger person? No, I expect you to be the bigger person and not do this in the first place. Okay? Let me reiterate that this is not a Christian channel for those of you who are appalled at what I'm saying right now, because I have those in the comment section from time to time who will try to put me in check about certain things that I say like this. Now, it's different if you disagree with me on doctrine. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion. But when it comes to the treatment of our people, okay, and how they respond to that treatment, where you have the Chinese people mistreating Africans and the Africans responding by saying, look, if you're going to mistreat us, we're going to mistreat you. And you want to come and challenge me on that? Nah, I'm not a Christian. Okay, I don't have that Christian mindset or belief that the Africans should just sit still and pray for the Chinese as they are being mistreated. I believe that their response to this, now I don't know of every single situation, so let me just draw that disclaimer right now. I'm not saying that someone should lose their life, okay, in this because of something that another person is doing. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you're going to expel Africans out of China, then I believe the Chinese should be expelled out of Africa too. That's what I'm talking about. I had to clarify that for those of you who like to mince words and twist and just tangle up what we're trying to say here. I wanted to clarify for myself so no one else has to do it. Now, in an ideal situation, it would be that easy. I might do a separate video for those of you who forget the fact that China has a lot of investments in Africa. And so you can't just bounce them like that, right? There are going to be consequences to that. I'm talking about people who are not in leadership or leaders of countries who have signed contracts and made deals. I'm talking about those who said, okay, within this region, your store cannot remain here. Okay? We don't want your store in our community. We will not patronize your store. And in another video, I want to talk about the Americans, the blind, ignorant, those who are ignoring what's happening in China and on the continent of Africa. I'm talking about the blind, ignorant African Americans who continue to go into Chinese establishments and spend your money, in a separate video. But right now, I just wanted to commend those in Africa who are taking a stand. One guy said that he wanted to make provisions to get those Africans who were thrown out flown back to Africa, to whatever country will accept them. But in a separate video, once they get there, what then? Because you can't just take a person from one region and put them here. Okay, you've rescued them from here, but where do they go once they get there? Because you can't just go to the continent of Africa, land on the soil, and your life is established. Get what I'm saying? So from this one video spans whole other topics. But right now, I just want to commend the response that we are seeing from some on the continent towards China and telling them we are not having this any longer. Okay, family, with that, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.